word for the color of sky just before the first star appears sits on the back of your tongue like a stone you've swallowed. You mouth it in the dark. No sound comes. You try again, and this time the sound arrives, but thinner, as if the word itself has lost weight overnight. You are 73 years old, and your language is dying in real time inside your skull. Not the way empires die, with fire and record keeping. The way a candle dies in a room no one enters. Quietly, without witness. Except you are the witness and the candle both, and every morning you wake to find the room a little darker. Your name doesn't matter. What matters is your mouth. Inside it lives the last fluent iteration of a language that predates every border drawn on every map you've ever seen. Linguists call it an isolate. No known relatives, no cousin tongues, no family tree. Just a single branch, burning. You live in a government-funded apartment 3 kilometers from the university. They moved you here 6 years ago. Before that, you lived in the village where the language was born. But the village is underwater now. A reservoir. They dammed the river in 2019. The village went under in 2021. You watched from the ridge as the rooftops disappeared, one by one, like teeth sinking into a dark gum. That was the last place on Earth where your language had context. Now you sit in a recording studio 4 days a week. The studio is clean and white and smells of nothing. No rain, no wood smoke, no dung. It has acoustic panels on the walls and a microphone that costs more than your childhood home. A red light blinks when they're recording. Can you say the word for threshold again? Dr. Vasquez asks. She's kind. She has spent 9 years studying your language. She speaks it at the level of a 3-year-old. Nouns, some verbs, no humor. When she tries a joke in it, the grammar collapses like a tent in wind. You say the word. She nods. The machine records it. You say it again, softer this time, the way your mother used to say it when she stood at the actual threshold of the actual house, calling you home. Dr. Vasquez doesn't hear the difference. The machine does. It registers a pitch change, a duration shift, but it doesn't know why. You know why. The word for threshold in your language is not a noun. It is a verb dressed as a place. It means the act of standing between two knowings. Your mother wasn't calling you home. She was calling you out of one understanding and into another. Every time. But you can't explain this. Not in English. Not in Spanish. Not in any of the 5 languages you also speak, all of them borrowed, all of them useful, none of them yours. Some nights you lie in bed and speak to the ceiling. Full sentences. Arguments nobody will answer. You recite the song your grandmother sang when the river flooded. A song that describes water not as a substance but as a mood, a temperament that shifts with the season. In your language, you don't say, "the river is rising." You say something closer to, "the river is remembering." There is no equivalent. There never will be. Your hands, when you speak, move in specific patterns. The linguists catalog the gestures separately, filed under co-speech manual behavior. They don't understand that in your language, the hands are not decoration. They are grammar. The direction of a palm changes the tense. A closed fist negates. An open hand with fingers spread means not yet, but inevitably. You have tried to explain this. They wrote it down. They did not absorb it. Absorption requires a childhood you cannot give them. The offer arrived 7 months ago. A company. Their logo is on every phone, every screen, on the side of a building you see from your kitchen window. They want to build a generative model of your language. Every recording, every transcription, every gestural map doctor Vasquez has ever produced, fed into a system that will speak forever. You ask them, will it dream in it? They laughed politely. You did not. The model will generate grammatically valid sentences based on patterns. It will sound like your language, parse like your language, answer questions in your language. But it will not know what it means to stand at a threshold. It will not understand why the river remembers. It will produce words the way a printing press produces pages, without the pause that comes before saying something true. You thought about this for 3 weeks. During those weeks, the word for reluctance, a specific kind, the kind you feel before doing something irrevocable, began to blur. The consonant cluster at its center softened, like a stone in a riverbed, worn smooth by your own forgetting. You said it out loud, almost right, and almost in a language with no other speakers means wrong. No one to correct you, no one to say. The second syllable rises, not falls. You are the dictionary and the reader and the author, and the pages are dissolving. That week you agreed to the project. They set up additional equipment in your apartment. Cameras, motion capture dots on your fingers and face. A second microphone, always on, to catch the words you mutter while cooking, while dressing, while staring at the reservoir from your window. They call it naturalistic corpus capture. You call it living inside a throat that someone is studying. You begin to notice yourself performing. When you speak your language now, there is a faint awareness of the machine listening. You hesitate before certain words, not because you've forgotten them, but because you know the machine will record this hesitation, and you don't want the model to learn to hesitate. You want it to be confident. You want it to sound the way you sounded at 30, when the language was a river and not a puddle. But this means you are editing yourself. You are giving the machine a version of the language that never existed. A version without doubt, without erosion, without the weight of a 73-year-old mouth. You are cleaning the data. And clean data, you realize, is a lie. Dr. Vasquez notices the change. You sound different, she says. More formal. I'm speaking for someone who will never understand formality, you say. She doesn't ask what you mean. There are moments, and they come without warning, when a word returns that you thought was gone. You'll be peeling an onion, and suddenly the word for the layer between intention and action arrives. Fully formed, as vivid as the day your father used it to describe why he hadn't left the village when he had the chance. You grab a pen. You write it down in a phonetic script you invented at 40 because your language was never written. The act of writing it feels like nailing a butterfly to a board. Alive, but pinned. You have 4,217 of these entries in a notebook. Some of them contradict each other. Some of them you're no longer sure are correct. The notebook is the closest thing to a dictionary your language has ever had, and it is riddled with your own uncertainty. You wonder if the AI model will inherit your doubt, or if the engineers will smooth it out, the way they smooth out background noise. The company sends a demo after 4 months. They play you a recording, a synthetic voice speaking your language. It describes a sunset. The grammar is correct. The pronunciation is close. 93% accuracy, they say. You listen with your eyes closed. It sounds like your language, the way a photograph of a meal resembles dinner. Everything is there except the heat, the smell, the hunger. The synthetic voice has no body. It doesn't know what it's like to say the word for sunset while watching an actual sunset. It doesn't know that the word shifts, barely, almost imperceptibly, depending on whether you're watching alone or with someone. Context isn't data. Context is a life lived inside the sound. It's very good, you say. You're lying. That night, you do something you haven't done in years. You speak to your dead mother, not in prayer. You were never religious. In conversation. You tell her about the machine. You tell her about the demo. You tell her they got the word for sunset 93% right, and the 7% they missed is everything. You tell her you're scared that after you die, people will hear the machine and think they're hearing the language, and the difference will be invisible to anyone who never knew the real thing. Your mother doesn't answer. She never does. But the language holds her shape, and when you speak to her in it, the words curve around the space she used to occupy, and for a moment, the room is less empty. You stop cooperating with the project 3 days later. Not dramatically. No press conference, no manifesto. You simply stop speaking when the cameras are on. You sit in the recording studio and look at Dr. Vasquez and say, in English, "I'm tired today." Day after day. She is patient. The company is less patient. They send emails, then lawyers, then a mediator who explains the contractual obligations. You explain through the mediator that you cannot give them what they want because what they want doesn't exist. They want the language without the speaker. They want the music without the instrument. They want a river that remembers without a riverbed to hold it. The mediator writes this down and does not understand. Weeks pass. You stop going to the studio. The equipment in your apartment sits idle, its red lights dark. You begin speaking more. To yourself, to the ceiling, to your mother. You speak the language the way you spoke it before anyone was listening. Imperfectly. With gaps. With hesitations that mean more than fluency. One morning you wake and the word for the sound a door makes when it closes for the last time is gone. Completely. Not blurred, not faded. Gone. You spend 3 hours trying to recover it. You say adjacent words, hoping it will come by association. You hum the melody your grandmother used it in. Nothing. The room where that word lived is empty, and the door, whatever sound it made, is shut. You sit at your kitchen table and cry, not for yourself, for the word, for the thing it named that will now go unnamed in any language. There is a concept in the universe that, as of this morning, has no sound attached to it in any human mouth. It exists only as a gap, a silence with a specific shape. In your notebook, you draw a small black square where the word used to be. You are going to die. Not soon. The doctors say you are healthy, that your mind is clear, that you could live another 15 years. But the language will not survive 15 years in a single skull. It is already full of black squares. Small silences multiplying, each one a room sealed shut in a house with no other tenants. You make a decision. You call Dr. Vasquez. You tell her you will come back to the studio. But not for the AI project, for something else. You want to record the gaps. You want to record yourself trying to remember words and failing. You want the hesitations, the wrong attempts, the silences where language used to be. You want a record not of the language at its strongest, but of the language as it actually is. Dying, fragmented, full of black squares and missing doors. Why? She asks. Because that is what the language is now, you say. If you only record what I remember, you're not recording my language. You're recording a ghost of it. I want to record the dying, the actual dying, so that when someone listens in 100 years, they hear the truth. Not a clean simulation, but a real collapse. The way a building falls is part of the building story. She's quiet for a long time. Okay, she says. You go back to the studio. The red light blinks. You open your mouth. And you begin. Not with a word, but with a silence. A specific silence. The one that sits where the sound a door makes when it closes for the last time. Used to live. The machine records it. For the first time, you feel it is listening.